season. Two on here in the first, just one out. McKenna Gibson, the runner goes. They're going to cut that off, and Tennessee puts two runners in scoring position. Panel at second, Savia Morgan over at third as Kirsten Deal looked to work her way out of this first inning jam. That runs inside for ball two.
That slow developing play that was hit to Gabby Garcia for an infield single. It was great hustle by Panel after a 12-13 pitch at bat to be able to find a way to get on base even after a tough AB.
That runs up and away. Gibson back-to-back first-team All-SEC nods for the Lady Vols. Takes strike one.
They snuck that curveball in there. That's that lefty curveball that lefties like to use for a high percentage of time as they're coming from the left-hand side, can locate that curveball on both sides at the plate, the go-to pitch whenever they need to get back into the count and throw a strike.
3-1 off the handle, fouled back, and Deal get an important out number two here. To illustrate how great the SEC is this season, Oklahoma, who comes in the defending national champions over the last 4 years, and the back-to-back SEC champs, were picked third and fourth in the preseason poll. Let's hit softly to Garcia, two away. Here comes Sophia Nugent, the former Sooner. What a swing from her.
Can you imagine how this felt? Remember, Sophia Nugent played at Oklahoma, won a national championship with them, then transferred to Tennessee. And for her to come up in the 8th inning, hit a opposite field home run to give her team the lead and ultimately the win. What a feeling.
Rips this one toward McEnroe Marinas, but she takes care of it. Nicely done by Kirsten Deal in the first. Strands a pair, the Sooner bats coming up next. Sage Margetko gets the start as Karen Weekly continues to keep everybody on their toes with their pitching strategy. Margetko started last night, went 2 1/3, gave up just 2 hits, 1 run, walked 4, and she was taken out for Carlin Pickens in the 3rd inning, but back at it again today.
Trying to figure out who Karen Weekly is going to start on an SEC weekend series is like trying to go perfect in your March Madness bracket. I mean, you really just don't know, but Margetko is a transfer from South Carolina, just a sophomore, so they get 3 years with her, and she was a big pickup in the portal. Going to throw in the mid-60s. She'll most use her rise ball and her drop ball, so she'll split the zone vertically, but also throws her curveball and screwball very well. Something that Karen Weekly noticed about her was just her ability to move the ball in all 4 directions. She said she could beat any team on any given pitch, so she could throw all rise balls and beat them. She could throw all drop balls and beat them, curve and screw, same way. She legitimately has 5 different pitches that she can confidently throw with command.
She says everyone thinks they've got that many pitches, but she said, I've really only had one other than Margetko, and that was Ellen Renfro, who was a superstar alongside her sister Ivy.
And a little bit of trouble that she'll get into is the free passes. And that's kind of what happened to her last night, too, when she got the start. Just in 2 1/3 innings, ended up walking 4.
So Abigail Dayton is aboard. And now Nellie McEnroe Marinas, 1 for 4 last night. Tremendous third baseman, a redshirt freshman. She was out last year with an injury. Patty Gasso said she had to sit and watch a national title happen right in front of her. I know how hard that was for her to not be able to impact it on the field. So she was ready to go this season, is having a tremendous debut year for the Sooners.
She's made the most of that year from inside the dugout, taking notes, probably picking the brains of the veterans like a Jada Coleman and Alyssa Brito and Kinsey Hansen.
Margetko really spun that one and Down goes McEnroe-Marinas for out number 1.
Swinging well out of the zone. Didn't look like that curveball even ever started as a strike, but McEnroe-Marinas guessing a little bit, just has been a little bit off these first 2 games of the series against Tennessee early on.
Outside runner goes. Great throw down. Did she slide around it? Dayton with an acrobatic slide at second to take the base.
It's like Karen Weekly might ask for a replay review. Beautiful throw by Sophia Nugent. Does not get much better, but look at the dive. I mean, you said it, acrobaticness, but she does come off of the bag. From the other angle, you could really see it. So looks
Tennessee
like she avoids the tag here.
That the runner at first left early. That play is under further review.
And I don't think that the tag is put on her before her hand gets to the base, but the mistake was made by Mueller not keeping the tag on her the whole time, because as Dayton rolled, we're going to see it. She misses the tag here. She's on the base there, but then Mueller needs to keep the tag on her, because look right here, Abby Dayton is not on the bag, but Mueller does not have the tag on her any longer. Perfect throw by Nugent. Look at where this is, on the money to Mueller, who puts the tag and tries to go toward Dayton instead of putting the tag right on the bag, which is where Dayton needs to go. I think that this is going to be upheld. Oh, actually, looks like maybe they're going to be checking to see it. It's my fault. Got ahead of myself. It was such a beautiful slide and tag and throw and all the things, but they're checking to see if she left early.
This is a challenge that we saw a lot last year, maybe misused, so they adjusted the rule this year to eliminate certain situations. It's a play now that you can only challenge if the runner advances, and there are some exclusions to that as well. So because Dayton is at second base, it is a challengeable play for Karen Weekly.
After review, the call in the field is changed. The runner left early and is out. This is Tennessee's first challenge.
Tennessee dugout, after she stole, came to Karen Weekly almost to provide the information to her that, yeah, she left early, you need to challenge this. He came right away. He's all the way down at the end of the dugout right now, came all the way to the front of the dugout to tell Karen Weekly that's what he saw.
Greg Snyder, one of 2 new assistant coaches for Karen Weekly this year. He came over from Texas Tech, where he was the head coach for the last 2 seasons. Stephanie Sanders, the other newbie, joining Megan Rhodes-Smith on this very good assistant coaching staff for Karen Weekly. This is kind of off the end of the bat, but perfectly placed into right field. Pickering takes a turn and thought about it. A 9-game hit streak now for Cassidy Pickering.
Boy, think about how important that out is that she left early, because with a hit like this, the runner from second base, she would have been in scoring position, would have left on the hit with 2 outs, and I think would have scored on this play. But still, Cassidy Pickering, a little bit out in front of that, but just perfectly places it out in right field for a 2-out single.
It's Gabby Garcia a chance. Drove in a run last night underneath this one. The sun, though, a little bit of an issue for Gabby Leach, and she lost it. It hits the wall. Oklahoma's going to score, and Garcia cruises into third. She was fighting it the whole time.
Looked like no doubt this is going to be out number 3, but you're right. She lost it in the sun when it was at the peak, and she just wasn't ever able to find it. Trying to shield her eyes with her glove, just never really got it done. And Oklahoma able to score first.
It was almost Tennessee who opened the scoring. They had such a great opportunity in the first inning with a couple runners on and just 1 out. Instead, Oklahoma strikes first. They're 21-0 and scoring first this season. Big swing there from Ella Parker for strike 1.
Remember, Gabby Leach just made that amazing defensive play out in right field in yesterday's game that kept the game going into extras.
Garcia's swing goes down as a triple as Leach just Never got a glove to it. It's the second triple allowed by Tennessee all season long.
And it stings if you're Tennessee. And if you're Oklahoma, it's going to give you a little momentum, especially coming off of a loss last night. You want to be the one that scores first, puts pressure on Tennessee early in this one.
Parker draws the walk to keep it going. You just be Leach with that throw to keep the game going in the bottom of the 7th. Strike one delivered to Sydney Sanders, a senior out of San Marcos, California. Has had an interesting career. She started at Arizona State, where she was a first-team All-American and Pac-12 Freshman of the Year in 2022. Finished as a top 3 finalist for National Freshman of the Year with a pretty impressive trio. The winner, of course, Jordy Ball, who won a national title with Oklahoma that year and is now at Nebraska.
It'd be a little bit of a free swinger, especially this year. Coach Gasso talked about how in last year's lineup, she was kind of hidden in the lineup with all those seniors that were 4 or 5 year starters for Oklahoma and multi-time All-Americans. And this year, Sanders is the veteran in this lineup.
That's a weird spinner to the left side, taken care of by Taylor Pannell. Oklahoma strikes first. The Sooners up 1-0 as we go to the 2nd inning.
Right around, it had to go play Wichita State at their home field. And I mean, 19-16 was the final score in that game.
Foul territory ran down by Isabella Emmerling for out number 1 on 1 pitch from Deal.
It's been a bit of a challenge, giving up more runs than maybe normal and getting challenged in SEC play. A lot of games on the road. Good play by Emmerling here to track that one down and secure the out. And then having their first home loss last night, too. It's been an eventful week if you're a Sooner fan or if you're wearing that uniform.
Wow, hit really hard back to Deal. 2 pitches, 2 outs. Deal started against Wichita State and gave up 6 earned midweek.
It's a nice little candy hop. I mean, that was hit hard, but right to her glove, right at her chest. I think that's 2nd out.
Deal's mom was a great athlete, played college softball and basketball. Michelle runs in the family for Kirsten Deal. Amaya Doyle now, the 8-hole freshman for Tennessee, who homered last night, drove in a pair of runs.
Actually coming to play here for the first time as a freshman. In your first at bat, you hit a home run.
She was just 0 for 4 in SEC play entering last night, so it hadn't played a ton in conference play, and then gets an opportunity against Sam Landry at Oklahoma. Carterville, Illinois. Did she go? No, she did not. Crowd into it, looking for a 1-2-3 inning from Deal. Runs away for ball 3.
You can tell they want to keep going back to that rise ball, see if she'll continue to swing at it. Did a good job of holding back these past couple of pitches.
Popped up right over to Garcia at shortstop. 1-2-3 inning for the Sooners. They lead 1-0 as we go to the 3rd inning in Norman. baseball season.
It's here. How is it already here?
The fact that we're halfway through the college softball season feels incredible, and there's still so much SEC play to happen and a lot to be decided in this conference the way it's shaping out at the top. Oklahoma looking to add to a 1-0 lead here in the bottom of the second. There is strike one to Ailana Agbayani, the second baseman for the Sooners.
Well, and Oklahoma has been challenged already at home in SEC play when you go back to their first SEC weekend against South Carolina.
Tough play here, but nicely handled by McKenna Gibson at first base.
All three of those games against South Carolina were one-run games. I mean, the ball was flying out of the ballpark. Patty Gasso called it the survival of the fittest that weekend. And then their fourth SEC home game last night goes to extra innings. I mean, these games at home here in Norman have been intense.
That South Carolina series I thought was a perfect example of where this program was before the 4 straight national titles and where they are after. I mean, the winning is in the culture here. They just know how to do it. They have a feel for it.
Yeah. First 2 games of that series, OU won 10-9. And the last game was 2-1. So 3 one-run games, but Oklahoma found different ways to win. Okay, you're going to score 9. We're going to score 10. Okay, you're going to score 1. Okay, cool. We'll score 2. They know, this program knows how to win. They do have that championship mindset, and it doesn't matter who's graduated or who's in, who's out. That championship mindset that head coach Patty Gasso has established with the culture goes well beyond the names on her roster. It is deep in this program.
Said she would have never anticipated they'd have just 1 loss entering this series at this point in the season, but really proud of this team and where they've come from fall.
She said that they've taken giant steps forward. And when you look at them playing in conference in the Big 12 last year compared to this year, I mean, the entire Big 12 season for them, they only competed in 3 one-run games. We're still in March, and they've already had 3 one-run games, but they're winning by a lesser margin. They already have 2 losses, 1 to Tennessee last night, 1 to Missouri last weekend on the road. It's a different ball game this year in the SEC.
Straight back and out of play by Isabella Emmerling. Emmerling, the transfer catcher from North Carolina, where she spent 3 years, played 2 of them. More than 53 runs last year for the Tar Heels with 14 home runs.
One thing Patty Gasso told us, though, Chucky, is I just would have never anticipated that we would be at this point in the season with, it was just 1 loss, right? Because we talked to her before last night, but even with just 2 losses, I mean, this team still knows how to compete and have performed extremely well.
3rd walk issued by Marjetko to this point. And that is to the 8-hole Emmerling. Hitting about 267 entering the weekend, so one they don't want to let get away from him. And now to the 9-hole Hannah Core, who they really like defensively. Yorba Linda, California. Up and in, first pitch to Core, ball 1, who walked last night as well as a base hit and scored a run.
Marjetko just struggling to find the strike zone still. Remember, got the start last night, had 4 walks in 2 1/3 inning. Now you have Sophia Nugent, who, remember, was at Oklahoma to start her career, won a national championship with them, calls timeout on her own to go out and talk to Marjetko, and you could see kind of talking to her, you could do this, a leader. And I feel like Sophia Nugent these past couple of weeks has definitely been a breakout leader, a breakout star, the breakout type of player that Tennessee has needed these past couple of weeks with her bat, her leadership back behind the plate. That home run that she hit last night, I think that you're really starting to see Sophia Nugent blossom for this Tennessee team.
Did you have a process as a pitcher? You certainly didn't want to plan for a day where you maybe don't feel it, but did you have any way that you could try and kind of reset yourself in game?
Yeah, usually it's in between innings. I mean, you can still do it when you're out there in the middle of an inning, right? But I feel like more so it's okay, that first inning is done. I'm going to go out and start fresh in the second inning or third inning, wherever it is in the game. You have an opportunity to go out and reset and attack the zone the way that you know how. And sometimes you need your catcher to come out and say a little something to you. I know that Megan Rhodes-Smith, the pitching coach for Tennessee, has had a lot of timeouts that she's gone out there the past couple of weekends because Tennessee has been giving these free passes, falling behind in counts, has really taken that upon herself to go out and speak to them mid-inning.
It's softly into right field. Tough spot here. Leach, though, taking control in right field. 2 outs. Karen Weekly told us Megan Rhodes-Smith, she feels like maybe one of the most undervalued pitching coaches in the country, said she is an exceptional pitch caller and has a great way of connecting to pitchers, really figuring out what works for them and how they can fine-tune that and add to it. Pitched for the Lady Vols from 2005 to 2008. 3 of those years alongside the great Tennessee pitcher Monica Abbott.
Tennessee definitely has a history of incredible pitchers, one right after another, All-American after All-American. Even just last year, when think about the 1-2 punch of Peyton Gottschall and Carlin Pickens. I mean, they were both throwing so well that you got to the end of the season, Tennessee, remember, won the SEC regular season championship, and you thought, okay, which one of them is going to be the SEC pitcher of the year? Because they both were so deserving with how they threw.
Ground ball right side, scooped up by Dodge, and that's going to do it for the Oklahoma second inning. Still a 1-run lead for OU. This week in the 2023 Women's College World Series, Oklahoma dominating that one 9-0. They also met here for a super regional back in 2014. But it's 2 programs who, not just in that game we just showed you, but over the course of the last 25 years have had some of the biggest stars in all of college softball.
You think about the explosion of the SEC, and I think of Monica Abbott coming from California, deciding to go and play at Tennessee and really breaking open the West Coast to come and bring their talents to the SEC to make the SEC stronger for the next couple of decades after her.
A few NCAA records with Monica Abbott's name on them.
One of the best to ever do it, not just at Tennessee, not just in the SEC, but in the country and in the world.
9-1-2 for the Lady Vols here in the top of the third, trying to figure something out against Kirsten Deal. 2 of their first 3 batters reached, but since then 5 straight retired for Deal as she started to settle in a little bit after Oklahoma gave her the lead. (3-1) to Gabby. Misses a leadoff walk for the 9-hole for Tennessee. Coming up tonight on ESPN, the Women's Basketball Sweet 16 continues with the Sooners taking on Paige Beckers and UConn at 5:30 Eastern. We'll cap the day with Kansas State squaring off against USC at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Of course, super disappointing that Juju Watkins had the knee injury early in the tournament, so she is out for the rest of the way, and we'll see if that 1-seed USC can keep it rolling. And then Oklahoma, how about this program they've got here in Norman on the women's basketball side? Just signed the #1 recruit in the nation. Things are looking up in a number of areas.
Oklahoma playing Morgan with the 5 infielders, so no right fielder currently out there. That is completely wide open because Abby Dayton, who was in left field, is actually going to come and play on the dirt now. So 3 infielders on the left side, knowing that Morgan, with her speed and a slapper, trying to use the left side of the field, trying to make it as difficult as possible on her to try to hit it through the infield. And then 2, you see how far up the line that Nellie McEnroe-Marinas gets to play, anticipating a bunt. Morgan got on a bunt single in her first at bat, so McEnroe-Marinas is playing well in front of the third base bag, especially in a bunt situation and the speed of Morgan.
I have have to imagine this is a weird just visual for Morgan at the plate. If you were Karen Weekly, is there anything you're trying to tell her to kind of keep her comfortable and focused in what she's doing?
Still just to be her, not try to worry too much about it, still try to be her and potentially try to go to more of a power slap, still trying to get it through the infield, trying to hit it maybe even on the right side.
Slap down the left field line, and running onto it is Pickering. One out.
I was, not a speedy slapper like Sabaya Morgan was in my career, but I would imagine you definitely feel the pressure of that extra infielder kind of noticing out of the corner of your eye. Oklahoma likes to do that. They did the same thing against Arkansas's leadoff hitter Reagan Johnson when they played her in Fayetteville.
Another lefty, a little more power here from Kinsey Fiedler, and Oklahoma back in their regular defensive setup. Fiedler takes strike one. Senior from Lee Summit, Missouri, played 3 years at Washington before transferring this year to Tennessee. He's a great track athlete at Lee Summit North High School. That misses up and in. Played at the same high school as Sierra Harrison, who is a junior pitcher at Missouri.
You mentioned her running track, but she also was a very
Runner
serious...
at first base has been called out for leaving early.
Another one. I've seen more this weekend than I think I have seen in the games that I've called, at least combined. It's a third one this weekend.
One ball, one strike.
Runner called for leaving early. This isn't even a review. It's just the umpires on the field calling it right away, noticing it, and she's going to be out.
It was Katie Taylor running for Leach over at first base that left early. So now nothing to work with for Fiedler with 2 outs. We've had 3, and you also just don't see it called live a lot, I feel like. Especially last year, it was such a popular review that we had. Almost never see it called live. Two-two hit hard into left field. Pickering grabs it. And essentially a 1-2-3 inning for Kirsten Deal.
Made so many World Series appearances. Lonnie Alameda and her staff just do a tremendous job of getting everybody on the same page, getting the most out of their strengths and now their talent, figuring out the pitching staff and changes, using them in a lot of different roles.
Only one of the great minds in college softball. We've got 2 more of them here today, Patty Gasso and Karen Weekly, as we get a look at Nellie McEnroe-Marinas, who struck out swinging her first time up, trying to extend a 19-game reached base streak and a 9-game hit streak. Takes that pitch for ball 2.
Coach Gasso says that McEnroe-Marinas just always wants more. More ground balls, more swings, coming early, staying late, just really learn that grind of a work ethic that she's had growing up in Hawaii, working with her dad, putting in the time and effort to get recruited, but also learning it from that group of seniors last year that graduated, just putting in all the extra work and getting better as the season has gone on.
Said she just wants ground balls all day long. She's like, come on, practice is over. I can't do this all day. Hit high into center field. It is pretty breezy out there today. You see that ball blowing Kinsey Fiedler all the way into right center for out number 1. Sage Margetko trying to get in rhythm for the Lady Vols right now. You talked about it, kind of both teams looking for that locked-in number 2 starter. Margetko certainly makes the most sense as that goes just over the glove of Gibson for a 1-out base hit for Cassidy Pickering.
Coach Gasso told us that she wanted her hitters to go up and look earlier in the count than what they did last night when they had 9 strikeouts against the Tennessee pitchers that they faced. The first pitch swing there by Pickering, but you mentioned it. I think both of these teams in a very similar spot of just trying to find the depth in their pitching staff behind their ace. When you look at what Carlin Pickens has done in SEC play, a 1.18 ERA, and has pitched the majority of the innings. The rest of the team, though, up near a 5 ERA. So wanting to find that consistency with what they're getting out of the rest of their staff.
Foul ball behind the plates. There's a little bit of a reaction from the crowd that hadn't seen it yet. You saw Pickens in the dugout a second ago. This was the point in the game yesterday where Tennessee said, all right, let's go for it. We don't expect to see her as soon today.
Yeah, they expected to bring Carlin Pickens into that game a little bit later. They didn't expect to bring her in so soon, but Margetco had those 4 walks, and they had the lead still. They wanted to bring her in, even with runners on base. She gave up 1. She came in with the 2-0 lead, gave up a run. It didn't go against her line. It went against Margetco's, but ended up finishing the rest of that game. I mean, last year's SEC pitcher of the year, one of the best pitchers in the country. We expected her to get the start last night. She didn't. She came in relief and pitched into the 8th inning, and the extra inning won the game.
1-1 to Gabby Garcia, runs outside. Garcia tripled on that awkward play in right field that got kind of caught up in the wind and sun and drove in the lone run of this game. Abby Leach kept the game alive in the bottom of the 7th last night out in right field with a fantastic throw home. Patty Gasso sent the runner around third base with 1 out, and Leach had the perfect throw in to Sophia Nugent behind the plate. It ended up really being the reason we went to extra innings when Tennessee won.
A lot of really good defensive plays. We mentioned that earlier, something that Tennessee struggled with last weekend against Arkansas, where they just didn't look themselves. But last night they were positioned in perfect spots. Like right now, Laura Mealy in a couple of different plays up the middle of the field.
Another foul ball from Garcia, trying to time up Margetco. Actually throws pretty hard herself, not quite at Carlin Pickens level, but was a little bit of a ramp up for Sooners hitters last night when Pickens did come in. Scooped up at first, no chance for 2 as Garcia runs it out. Nice play by Gibson though on a hard hit ground ball.
They have pitched Gabby Garcia very well. She does have that triple, but that should have been an out if not for the sun. There was a sun ball, potential double play ball there, but Garcia with her speed coming from the left-hand side, able to get down the line, and Boo Gibson kind of created a pick there for the second baseman, Ella Dodge.
Ball 1 outside to Parker, who walked her first trip to the plate. Ella Parker was on just a tear to start the season, had 21 hits in the first 9 games, just a 176 average though in the month of March, so trying to regain some of that early heat on the bat. Third-team All-American as a true freshman last year. 2-0 pitch in the dirt, 3-0. One on, 2 outs for Margetco. 3-0 pitch, Parker taking all the way.
The number's a little bit down, but you still fear a hitter like Parker.
Take series. First pitch strike to Sanders.
When I think of Margetco, I really like her curveball, and that's a pitch that stuck out to Karen Weekly as well. Whenever Tennessee had to face Margetco when she was at South Carolina last year, she said, we just struggled with that pitch. Oftentimes, these pitchers get in the portal, and coaches who were looking to pick up a pitcher or play a different type of player, like they have played against them, so they're aware of how good they are, what they can do, how they performed against their team. It's like they get a first-hand look at them, at many of them.
Hit hard to deep left center field, one. A 3-run shot for Sydney Sanders, her 7th of the year.
This is a bit of a mistake that's up in the zone, and Sanders makes Margetko just pay for it. It's a curveball. It doesn't get out enough. It stays about belt high, and Sydney Sanders says, thank you for that mistake. Looking for something up in the zone. She gets it, and she absolutely unleashes on it for a 2-run home run to give Oklahoma an even bigger lead.
Sends the Sooner faithful at Love's Field into a frenzy. First pitch swinging from Agbayani. That'll do it for the inning, but not in time. Sydney Sanders, the biggest swing of the game to this point. A 4-0 Oklahoma lead after the big swing by Sanders.
As they become distractions.
The player she was talking about, the former Sooner, Sophia Nugent, who had the 2-run home run last night. She's due up 3rd this inning. That was one of the things she said she told Sophia was, you are going to feel something when you go back to this place that you spent a couple seasons. Just be ready to have ways to deal with that mentally and stay locked in. This is hitting the right center field and deep, and that is gone off the top of the wall. A leadoff home run from Taylor Pannell. Her 12th of the season, and that's how Tennessee can respond.
And Karen Weekly just told us too many jam jobs have been happening, too much indecisiveness, but one of the best ways to not get jammed is to go up looking for an outside pitch to get your barrel to that pitch. And that's exactly what Taylor Pannell does to score the first run for Tennessee and answer right back an opposite field home run. They've done such a good job when their hitters have come up and had success of letting pitches travel and using the center part of the field or the right side of the field going with pitches.
Pannell looking to be a likely recipient of another first-team All-SEC nod this year after great conference play numbers last year. That was the Lady Vols' first hit since the top of the first. Had a bunt single and an infield single. Then had 7 straight retired.
Because Jen Rocha, the pitching coach for Oklahoma, saw that out extension on an outside pitch. Now they're going to continue to try to work these right-handed power hitters up and in on their hands to continue that jam job like they had been doing in the earlier innings. Jen Rocha, one of the best pitching coaches in the country right there.
Patty Gasso told us on our call, and we spoke to her after the Wichita State game when Oklahoma allowed 16 runs. She said, don't talk to Jen Rocha today. She is not a happy camper right now based on what her pitching staff had done. They go way back, though. Patty Gasso recruited Jen Rocha when she was in high school out in California when Gasso was the head coach at Long Beach City College. Patty's husband, Jim, was actually the dean of Jen Rocha's high school, so they've known her forever. And we asked about that relationship, and Patty Gasso said she just reads her. Jen reads everything that she needs, and that's not just softball, as Kirsten Deal gets the strikeout for out number 1.
And speaking of looking for an outside pitch, it's what stuck out to me in Sophia Nugent's at bat in the 8th inning. So I'm going to show you the pitch before her home run. Look at how she takes this pitch kind of leaning on her toes over the plate, and then she gets an outside pitch and goes with it to right field. So to me, the pitch before her home run that ended up giving Tennessee the lead and ultimately the win showed me that she was looking for an outside pitch. I saw her take that, and I'm like, oh, she's looking out. Then boom, next pitch she gets, she drives it over the right field wall, ended up winning them the game. But Tennessee has looked really good on the outer half with their swings.
Nugent takes strike one. She had 2 home runs in the first 15 games this season. She's hit 7 in the last 17. Has been on an absolute tear. Drove in 38 runs all of last year, and she's already hit that number as a senior this year. This is hit deep to right field and carrying and caught right at the wall with Dayton having her right hand up against it.
It's a better barrel there again for Nugent. Just didn't have quite the pop and off the bat that Panels did for that home run, but get their barrel to these pitches.
Two away for Laura Mueller, the shortstop, who watches ball one up and in. Senior from Chapel Hill, Tennessee, and in her second season with the Lady Vols after transferring from Middle Tennessee State last year, where she was a 2-time All-Conference USA performer.
There's a couple of players to me in Tennessee's offense that really stick out as I see kind of the cornerstone of their success. One is Sophia Nugent, who is seeing the ball very well right now and playing big back behind the plate as their everyday starting catcher. And the other is Laura Mueller, their shortstop. When she plays with this energy that you see her even in between pitches out on shortstop, and when she's in the dugout in between innings, just when she plays with this bigger presence and energy, Tennessee plays like a completely different team when she's locked in, and she has been locked in these past couple of games.
Hits this hard down the left field line and tails foul.
Is a big part of their win in Game 3 against Arkansas, when they had really struggled just fighting themselves in Game 1 and Game 2 in Knoxville last weekend, and really flipped the script in Game 3. Played on a Monday night. She hit what should have been a home run. It was ruled a double, but when you go back and look at it, it should have been a home run. And she just played with a different energy to help avoid the sweep.
Chopper to the shortstop. Garcia handles it nicely. They retire 3 straight after Taylor Pinnell's big swing. They hit 236 as a team for the Sooners. That's a very low number, but they hit 6 home runs, and that's been kind of one of the things we talked about today. But great power in this team. They lead the SEC in home runs. They also lead the SEC in walks. 8-9-1. This is Isabella Emmerling taking that pitch. And a new pitcher for Tennessee, Erin Newer, the freshman from East Aurora, New York. Has thrown just 6 1/3 in SEC play, a 5.53 ERA in conference play versus a 1.67 ERA for the season.
A highly recruited freshman. She has really good stuff. I mean, Tennessee coming into this year, Karen Weekly said, we might have one of the deepest pitching staffs that we've ever had, and that's in large part to adding the arm of Erin Newer, who can really change speeds very well. 3 different speeds that she'll throw. She can ramp it up to 70. Vertical separation that she'll create with an off-speed rise ball and a drop ball at 70. So those 3 speeds that she'll throw is 70 with her drop ball. It just came on back to the field, didn't it? I mean, I was going to start talking again. It looked like it was going to head on out of here and be a little take home.
Going from the left field pole to the right field pole. And back to your point on this Tennessee pitching staff, it's also a group that is all going to come back together next year, assuming the transfer portal doesn't take anybody. But couple juniors on this staff, a couple freshmen, and a sophomore in Sage Marjetko, who we saw earlier, and it's a staff that could get even better next year. See Carlin Pickens, who will be the ace, of course, this year and next.
Karen Weekly said that she would be available, but just kind of playing this game by 3 runs. If Tennessee can get back into this game, maybe tie it, take the lead, I think we'd likely see Pickens. They just don't want to overuse her. That was a word that, or overexpose her was the word that Karen Weekly used before the game. That's why they didn't want to bring her in as early as they did last night, but they felt like they kind of had to, so Oklahoma got to see her for over 5 innings last night. Likely see how the rest of this one will play out, and if she doesn't pitch today, I'd say get the start tomorrow. But Karen Weekly, you cannot guess who she's going to start, so I say that now, but you just never know. You can't guess with her.
It certainly feels better that you had to use Pickens for longer last night and you came away with the win.
Absolutely.
If you lose last night, I feel a little worse today. Hit into center field right at Fiedler, 2 outs.
You can just tell that she is difficult to barrel up, Erin Newer is, whenever she's throwing strikes. So ramp it up to 70, kind of have an in-between speed with her rise ball. That's about 58, 59. And then her changeup, she'll drop in at about 53, 54. A lot of spin on that rise ball. Difficult to time up compared to this. And it makes it, her 70 look even harder when she can throw those 3 speeds.
Back to the top of the order for the Sooners. Swing and a miss from Abigail Dayton, who homered off of Carlin Pickens last night. Went up and got a pitch and sent it over the right center field wall. Falls behind 0-2 quickly. Dayton, a transfer from Utah where she spent 2 years, a third-team All-American last year. 431 average that led the Pac-12. 0-2 from Newer. Ground ball left side. Mueller has it. 1-2-3 out of the bullpen for the freshman Erin Newer. And we'll see Tennessee bats can keep it going. It's a few years for sure.
I mean, you look record-wise, Missouri is more so down at the bottom of the conference. And they're the ones that gave Oklahoma their first loss last weekend. I think that Ole Miss-Missouri game will be a good one. And Jamie Trachsel, I wonder if she's getting ready. Being mic'd up on Monday. It's a big night in the SEC.
Brand new stadium at Ole Miss on display as well. Some big things happening across the country for college softball.
Look at the year that Lexi Brady is having with her 10 home runs for Ole Miss. Ball's flying off of her bat. That whole offense can be really scary at times.
16 newcomers, but Brady's been there 4 years and having a career season for them. Big swing here for Ella Dodge. If you joined us late, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Norman today, the number 2 team against the number 10 team, and the Sooners looking to bounce back after an extra inning loss in game 1 last night. Alongside the 2-time All-American Amanda Scarborough and Chucky Kempf. Popped up on the infield. Deal does handle this one. There was a miscue earlier. No mistake that time.
Yeah, that's why Nellie McEnroe-Marinas is smiling right now, because there was a miscue, but it was down the third base line. I mean, almost an identical pop-up, but one was down third base that they dropped and it ended up going foul, and that one in front of first base with her and Sydney Sanders, but comes away with the out that time.
Amaya Doyle popped up to the shortstop, her first trip to the plate. Fouls this down the left field line, strike 1.
Now, Karen Weekly talked about her team still trying to find an identity early on, and felt like this is before the Arkansas series. She had said, this time of year you can't develop identity until you get beat around a little bit. And entering the Arkansas series, like, that was her mindset, still trying to find it for her team.
Another one on the infield. This time, Agbayani takes control from her second base position.
And she had said, Chucky, that every team has that defining moment throughout a season, and I don't think that we've had that quite yet. But with the way that her team was able to respond in Game 3 against Arkansas at home and then come right into Norman and grab Game 1, I don't think you can say yet that they've found their identity or that was the defining moment, but it has the potential to be one. When a month from now you look back to their series against Arkansas and them finding a way to win Game 3, and with the way that Carlin Pickens threw and taking that momentum into Norman and winning Game 1 of this series, I mean, easily that could have been a defining moment for Tennessee. I just think it's still too early to tell.
Big swing by Leach. As a player, do you feel a difference? I mean, does it come to that point maybe in 2 weeks when you look back and you've played really well and you think, okay, that was it? As a player, or?
As a player, I don't think that you look as closely at it just even 2 weeks away. I think it's one maybe more toward the end of the season you're looking back when somebody maybe asks you, like, what's been the change or the spark in this season? And you think back, okay, it could have been that Arkansas series. But I think as a coaching staff, you look at it a little bit more closely. Like, that's what my team maybe needed to go through to find themselves in a weekend like that.
1-2 outside to Gabby Leach.
It's one thing that Karen Weekly said about her back-to-back SEC championships is that those teams had great leadership. As Kiki Malloy, player for them who graduated last year, was a generational type leader in their program. Actually soared over the catcher's head. So the one that you've been seeing is a little bit of a psych out, but either way, she set the record, 78.2, had hit 77 several times, including 77 a couple of times last night in her relief appearance. But the fastest pitch ever thrown on record, breaking Monica Abbott's record, which was 77. So it's gotten a ton of attention from Major League Baseball, Sports Illustrated. Savannah Bananas want to know if she is going to come and pitch in one of their games, which Carlin Pickens says when and where. And also, can my team get tickets? Because that's what Karen Weekly said about Carlin Pickens, that she has gotten a ton of attention from that pitch this week. But the one thing that she wants people to know about Carlin Pickens is that she is a phenomenal teammate. And she reminded her of that earlier this week when trying to settle her down, wrote a really sweet text earlier this week letting her know, I wish people, I want to shout from the mountaintops, and I wish that people knew what an amazing person you are, an amazing teammate that you are. As much as attention as 78 is getting, that's really what Karen Weekly wants people to know.
Gets texts from her dad as well before games. Just little reminders. Has been working with him for a long, long time and still does, which is pretty impressive for her dad to still catch her. It's a brave man. Runs inside and hits Nellie McEnroe-Marinas to lead off the fifth inning for Oklahoma.
Well, and too, Chucky, Karen Weekly reminded us that Carlin Pickens came in throwing 70 to 71, and she has put in the work to work on her mechanics, especially her freshman year. Carlin Pickens told me she really worked on her mechanics to get them where they needed to be, but she's gotten stronger, she's worked on her mechanics, and she's put it in her mind this goal that she wanted to get, 77, 78, to break the record held by Monica Abbott. But, I mean, I can't tell you as a pitcher myself how hard it is. Every mile an hour over 70 miles an hour is incredibly difficult to get and rare. Nevertheless, every mile an hour over 60 miles an hour is hard, and she's at 78.
What was the fastest you ever threw?
Okay, so the gun at the World Series at 72. So that's what I'm going with. It may have been a little bit juiced, but we're going with 72 as my answer. I'd say at least 70, which I'm pretty proud of. Yeah. Carlin Pickens is 6'1", I'm 5'5". Also, those longer levers definitely help her just to plays multiple sports, played volleyball and basketball. I mean, she's an incredible athlete, and she does it in the circle too.
If I gave you a ball, a catcher, and 15 minutes to warm up, what speed could you hit right now?
The speed that I hit is soar. Because even hearing you say warm up, 15 minutes, throw to a catcher, try to throw as hard as you can, I'm in pain thinking about it, but I would say 61, which wow. I would... yeah.
I like it.
Notice how specific that is, because I think I hit 63 a few years ago. So I'm going with 61, taking a few miles an hour off with age, you know.
And you're saying I'm skipping the warm-up straight to the pitch.
That hurts me so bad to think about.
Strike one to Cassidy Pickering for Oklahoma. Nobody out, one on here in the fifth inning. Sooners trying to add to a 4-1 lead and pick up win number 31 of the season. The bunt laid down. Neuer kind of off her back foot, safe at first. Center with that Hawkeye technology, which is extremely helpful, especially on plays like that. But it does set up a very big opportunity for Oklahoma in the heart of their order with Gabby Garcia at the plate, who has a team-high 11 home runs on the season. Takes that for a ball. Hoping to add to 33 RBIs on the year. She is just getting better and better. 270 in 16 games in February, up over 400 in March, and laying down the bunt as she sacrifices both runners into scoring position. The crowd loved that sacrifice bunt against Aaron Newer. This is such a big moment for the true freshman pitcher for Tennessee against Ella Parker. Parker has walked in her first 2 plate appearances and takes ball 1 in the dirt. Homered last week in their Game 1 win over Missouri, drove in 3 runs. She takes strike 1. Two-one from Newer. Little check swing there. Did she go? Yes, she did. First strike 2.
And what a big chase pitch there to get Ella Parker and get that call and a check swing. Goes to her drop ball, and this check swing gets her right back into the count for the second strike. And holds up on that, learns from her lesson. You can tell they're wanting her to bite at that drop ball down in the zone.
Big pitch coming in a full count with Sydney Sanders awaiting on deck. Goes up top, runner coming home, and now a pickle between third and home. And they do tag out McEnroe Marinas. Productive out for the Lady Vols.
They needed that. Got a little hairy with the rundown when McEnroe Marinas was going to be a sure out because she was breaking on the ground ball to second base. Ella Parker did a good job of getting on top of that pitch, hitting on the right side. Oftentimes got to produce a run with a runner at third base, less than 2 outs. But Tennessee does a nice job of handling that for the second out.
Here's Sydney Sanders. 3-run shot in the 3rd inning. The difference in this game. Watches the off speed for strike 1. Really struggled in the last 7 games leading up to this against Arkansas, Missouri, and Wichita State. Just hitting just 117. 2 for 17 at the plate in those games. Had a double last night, the 3-run home run today. 2-1. Off speed up top, got her.
It helped her out a little bit. You have some room to be really careful with Sydney Sanders with first base open. When you look at the power numbers of Sydney Sanders compared to Agbayani, who is on deck, it's like that to me is what they're trying to do. Maybe it's the nerves of the freshmen, but maybe it's just the plan to be more careful with first base open. As Sydney Sanders has hit 7 home runs, Agbayani has just hit 1 this year. Not as much of a power type hitter threat, but still hits for a good average on deck.
3-2 with 2 away in the dirt, and they will put Sanders on first to load the bases.
For a freshman.
Aaron Newer out of Narden Academy in East Aurora, New York, delivers strike 1 to Agbayani, who's 0 for 5 in the series with a walk. Played her first 2 years at BYU. Has a sister that is playing there now. Fouls this down the right field line to fall behind 0-2. Has a brother that is committed to play Division I baseball. 0-2, lifted down the right field line, shallow, Leach on it and makes the play. Tennessee strands the bases loaded in the 5th. The Lady Vols 6 outs to work with, down 3 runs. Lady Vols trying to fight their way back in these last couple innings. Based on what you've seen from Kirsten Deal in this game so far, Tennessee hitters, how do they make an adjustment right now?
The biggest thing is to look away so they're not getting jammed up and to see the ball down. I feel like she's thrown a lot of rise balls up in the zone, gotten a lot of jam jobs, gotten a lot of pop-ups. So seeing the ball down, not chasing that rise ball out of the zone is going to be a good start, especially with Morgan up, third AB, top of the lineup up. This is a prime opportunity to try to get right back into this game. Of course, she's going to have to battle that 5th infielder that's on the dirt with Abby Dayton coming and playing on the right side of the bag at second base. But Kirsten Deal, especially that one walk, has helped her out. Tennessee pitching has given up a lot of free passes in this game.
Just 3 hits, has struck out 3 over 5 innings. Hard hit ball, and I don't think that hit the ground. Either way, it's out number 1 to retire Savia Morgan. Oklahoma back into their regular defensive alignment. Abigail Dayton, who had just come in on the infield, back in right field now, or Kinsey Fiedler.
Now, Oklahoma has yet to have an SEC series where their full staff has been available. Opening weekend, Sam Landry against South Carolina here was not available, and Audrey Lowry was a pitcher who stepped up for them in Game 3 when they won that game 2-1. And then since then, she has been unavailable. So put more pressure on the rest of this pitching staff, who at times has struggled behind Sam Landry. I mean, when you look at what Sam Landry has been able to do with her ERA and her taking over as ace of the staff, transferring from Louisiana, versus the rest of the pitching staff, the numbers are pretty telling.
Another one toward Garcia, 2 outs. Landry from Texas, played her college ball at Louisiana 3 years, and actually wasn't necessarily planning to transfer. When you look at the numbers, think about how important she's been to this staff. A 1.34 ERA in SEC play versus a 5.16 for the rest of the team. But it wasn't necessarily in her mind that she was going to leave Louisiana until Jerry Glasgow departed for Texas Tech. And Sam Landry said, it just felt like a sign for me to maybe look for another opportunity, and has landed in Norman. And has become their ace in this 2025 season.
Sage Margetko, who started this game for Tennessee, and Sam Landry were 2 of the biggest pitcher pickups in the portal in the offseason. Number of other ones, but Sam Landry has really been able to develop here and mix her speeds with her changeup. I mean, she has been absolutely dominant at times. Maybe was a little bit nervous in her start last night. Patty Gasso said that's the thing about playing here at Love's Field, and with the crowd and the intensity and how loud it is, sometimes even our own players feel the crowd.
It was like someone said, hey, they're talking about you. Lean over a little bit. 1-2 from Deal. Just barely got a piece of it, Taylor Panel. Two for 2 today, an infield single and a solo home run. Former top 5 recruit out of Rock Island High School, just south of the Mississippi River at the Iowa-Illinois border. Off the end of the bat, things are just going well for Panel right now. 3 base hits today.
Taylor Panel has quietly been one of the best hitters in the SEC. Doesn't get a lot of attention like some of the other big hitters that you hear about, but my goodness, what a day for her. 4th hit of this series, 3rd hit of the game. Talked about that South Carolina series, checking how many runs that Oklahoma gave up that opening weekend, and it's kind of been been a theme these last 3 weeks that their pitching staff have given up more runs than how they started this series. In their last 13 games, that number is really telling when you look at the ERA, more than doubled. Started out hot, doing the same old Oklahoma things with just over a one-team ERA, but in the last 13 games, look at that ERA, up to 4. Facing tougher competition. They did not face a very difficult non-conference strength of schedule. Up in the 200s when you look at it, in terms of strength of schedule. I mean, there's only just over 300 Division I teams. So when you look at their non-con strength of schedule, it's well above 200 because, you know, Patty Gasso knew she'd have a lot of new faces on this team and maybe wanted to take it just a little bit easier with the transition of knowing just how difficult the SEC would be, try to build up their confidence early on.
Part of what makes this series so interesting, too, because it's Oklahoma testing their pitching against another good lineup, but it's also Tennessee with their lineup who has struggled in SEC play, hitting just over 200. It's the worst average in SEC play in the conference, and they're testing their bats against this Oklahoma staff, of course, led by Sam Landry, but just some questions being asked this weekend of these two teams.
Pitch clock violation, ball on the batter.
We love it when our umpire microphones work and can let us know what's going on. So it'll be ball 3 on the batter, and it happened because Kirsten Deal was shaking off of the pitch. Ended up taking too long, and the action clock time expired.
3-2 to McKenna Gibson. Underneath this one, the wind going to help this stay in play, and caught by McEnroe Marinas to end the inning. On to the bottom of the 6th, Oklahoma.
Oklahoma had a good offense before that break, but since they won these back-to-back national championships, their offense is what sticks out with who I think is maybe the best hitting coach in the country, with Patty Gasso's son, JT Gasso.
She jokingly, a little bit jokingly, called him the professor when we talked to him this week, but she did say he is just so intelligent. She said she'll question him on things, and he so often has the answer that she needs, but kind of likened him to a great teacher and how they make it click for a student. Said he's so great at giving examples and showing players things they can understand and then utilize.
Yeah, it's very clear that in that time when we were all off and our houses locked up, JT Gasso, he went to work. He figured out something, a way to communicate to his players, a way to individualize how they move, a way to break down the swing mechanically. Whatever it has clearly worked because they have been the best offense in the country the past 4 seasons, and those numbers are just major numbers to help support their amazing defense and pitching staff as well.
JT and DJ, Patty Gasso's 2 sons. DJ, the hitting coach at Arkansas for Courtney Deifel. But you think about it, Patty Gasso's been here 31 years. They grew up around this program on the field with the players as younger kids, and you've been around it. I mean, you're going to pick up a lot of things, and started to have his own opinions that are pretty darn good.
Well, and his brother is the hitting coach at Arkansas, who Tennessee played last weekend, and now the other brother plays him this weekend. I'm thinking maybe that there had to have been some conversations there about how to face this Tennessee pitching staff.
Well, that's a great pitch right there from Aaron Neuer to completely fool Emmerling for out number 1.
It's an off-speed rise ball by Neuer, and this is what she can do with this pitch. She can make it dance. She is spinning it like crazy. She's not trying to throw that pitch with a ton of velocity. She's trying to throw that pitch with a ton of spin. Gets a strikeout for the big swinging Emmerling, who at any point when she comes up is a home run threat.
Neuer should be really happy with her performance today. 2 1/3, 1 hit, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout coming in relief of Sage Margetko. Pinch hitter for Oklahoma, Maya Bland, the sophomore from California, went to Argyle High School. Her first career home run earlier this year as a pinch hitter against Marshall.
What Oklahoma hitters have done these past 5 seasons is that when you're pitching against them, you just felt like you have to be perfect against them. They've had really good strike zone discipline and awareness of what they're looking for, what's a strike, what's not. They just know the strike zone very well. They know what they're looking for, their individual approach very well, and they go up and execute it. day in and day out.
How would you handle when you see Oklahoma get off the bus? There is a different feel about this program right now. Patty Gasso, one of the best coaches ever. What they've done over the last 4 seasons with the national championships. How much do you feel like that can weigh on opponents if you're not careful?
Could really weigh on you a lot. I mean, you step into this field, you see the uniform, the intensity, you're looking over in the dugout and seeing familiar faces who've won national championships. But I would say with the graduation of that phenomenal senior class, might I say it might feel a little bit easier? I mean, not a lot, but so much respect for that senior class and what they did with their big names and All-American honors and winning national championships, that finally they graduated. And I mean, they had so many 4-time national champions on that team with Jada Coleman and Riley Boone, who were here yesterday, as well as Alina Torres was here, Tiare Jennings, Kinsey Hansen, Nicole May, and they had Kelly Maxwell, who graduated last year as well, who just came in for 1 year.
A great inning there from the freshman Aaron Newer, trying to give Tennessee a little spark as we go to the 7th. The Lady Vols need 3.
Sam Landry threw a career-high pitch count last night. And Kirsten Deal has come in looking like she's going to throw her first complete game of the season with how well she has thrown, and a response to have her team's back, to have Sam Landry's back after that tough loss last night.
Off-speed fouled by Nugent as she falls behind 0-2.
Really good pitch count, only 94 pitches thrown by Deal. She has all the experience, has pitched to the Women's College World Series, comes from that left-hand side. And this is looking more like the Kirsten Deal that we have come to see over the past couple of years, settling into this game, going deep into it, now trying to finish it.
Quick conversation with her catcher, Isabella Emmerling. Also just saves your arms, too. Of course, they saw Landry last night, and you would imagine Sam Landry starts tomorrow, probably against Carlin Pickens for Tennessee, but you keep them from seeing Isabella Smith or Peyton Monticelli or some other arms that could potentially be used in some form tomorrow. See Landry out in the bullpen just in case. 0-2 from Deal. Oh, man. That is...
Batter's out on a dead ball strike.
Strike 3.
Alex Leap said dead ball strike. Looked like it came up and hit her, not off of her bat, but hit her, and she swung at it, so that's going to go down as a strikeout.
That's why I was confused a little bit. I thought maybe she got a piece of that, but
yeah,
it was the face mask.
But Kirsten Deal's her curveball, rise ball combination has changed speeds when she's needed to, has not given in after that home run. She rebounded with 3 quick outs after that. Loved the response from her.
Retired 8 straight in total after that home run before Panel came back up with a single. Mueller 0 for 2 tonight after 3 hits in game 1.
Maybe a little Sam Landry versus Carlin Pickens for the rubber match tomorrow. You never know who's going to get this start, but going to come down to game 3 at trying to win the series tomorrow if Tennessee cannot come back in this game.
Tennessee next weekend welcomes Mississippi State, who has been tremendous this year so far. Oklahoma has a little break from conference play until April 12th when they travel to Tuscaloosa to take on Alabama. There are no gimmies, though, in the SEC almost any year, but certainly not this year, so that's fouled back and out of play.
Every series, Chucky, just has this intensity about it where it really does feel like a super regional. And when you look top to bottom in the SEC, almost every team ranked in the top 25. So almost every series is a ranked versus ranked opponent.
I saw yesterday in a doubleheader between Mississippi State and Texas, the Bulldogs got the first game over the #1 team in the country, the Longhorns. Texas bounced back at night to win game 2. Pitch number 102 coming up next for Kirsten Deal, a season high for her. Great battle from Mueller.
Coach Gasso in between innings, or when we talked to her in between innings, she said she's really poised, confident, liking just what she's seen, even not watching the result of the pitch, but just looking at Kirsten Deal in this game and liking a lot how she's just had a big presence.
Got her. Strikeout number 5 for Deal.
Yeah, the name of the game today for Deal has just been tying up these Tennessee hitters with that pitch up and in and trying not to let them get their hands and their barrel extended. So she goes up and in, nasty low rise ball, a little bit of curveball action to a hot Mueller who's been seeing the ball well, and it's really quieted her down in this game.
First pitch swinging into shallow center. Long run, what a catch! Agbayani with the exclamation point as the Sooners take game 2.
The middle infield for Oklahoma